Hello friends, in this session we are going to develop this application from scratch. So let's look at the architecture of the application. So user wants to insert the Blob and Clob objects. He can go to a browser, give a name and an image, and the request is then taken up by our backend application, and then it is stored inside the database. Similarly, if he wants to see the results, he will request in the browser. The request is taken by our application, goes back to the database gives the output back to the application, which we show it back to the user. So this is the overall architecture of how the application is going to work. The client, there are two parts over here. One is client and one is the server. Anything which request is the client, and anything which provides data is the server. In this case, Chrome browser, or say for example a browser inside an Android phone, becomes our client, and the the place where they request is the server. So the data will be provided from the server to the client. So let's go ahead and make this application. So this is the last application that we created, and this is just a hello world application. Let me just run this once. Go over here and run on server, and we'll be able to just see hello world inside our application, inside the browser. Wait for a moment and let the tomcat start, and if we say hello.jsp, we should be able to see hello world. Now let's modify this application so that we can show a name and a place where the user can send the location of the image. So here we can say something like name, and then the user is supposed to insert some text. So input type equal to text, and image, we can say input type. Again, this is not actually an image, this is just the location where the image is supposed to be taken. So image is text. And now let us see what we see in the output. Moment, it will refresh, and as you can see, it is showing name and an image location. Now this data has to go to the server. So to do that, we can use something like a form, and this form has to be submitted. So we can create a form, and then we can say give the option for the user to submit. Input type equal to submit. As you can see, Eclipse auto updates or auto guides you onto the syntax of the code of HTML as well. So let's go back over here and see what can we see. We can see a submit query button, but submit query, we are not submitting any query, so let's have only submit option. So we can do that by having a tag called value equal to submit. Save it and run it, and here we can see just a submit button, but the data has to go somewhere onto the server. So we can say input action. Where do we want to submit on the server? Oh, we have not created anything, so we need to create something on the server where we can post this. So let's create something on the server. Let us go ahead and create an application, a servlet. Go over here, servlet. Let us name this as insert p. Now it says that the servlet name cannot be empty, and it says the package. So let's create a package first. Go over here, new, and package. Let's name it as core. As we can see, a core package is created over here. Now we can create all the servlets inside this core package. Right click, new, and a servlet. Let us name this as insert p. It's giving a warning saying by convention Java type names usually start with a uppercase letter. So let's make this as insert b, and the warning is gone. Let's click on the finish button. The Eclipse will now create a servlet for us. Let us look at the things which is already created. We get a doGet and doPost method inside it, which takes a request and a response. A request and a response. Now doGet is, if you see doPost, the doPost again calls doGet. So all the requests that we possibly get will be uh, inside doGet. But what is this doPost and doGet? So uh, HTTP is the protocol by which we do the transfer between client and server. And there are two kinds of methods supported inside HTTP protocol: get method and post method. Let us look at these methods in a bit detail. So inside a get method, it passes the parameters as a part of the URL. So for example, if you go to Google and if you say something like this and you press enter, you see q equal to the text that we wanted to search. So this is a get request being transferred to the server. In the post request, we do not see it in the URL, but it is passed as HTTP headers. So, and there is a limit with the get call. So the URL has got some limit, like say 512 characters or something like that. And we cannot pass more than that. So if you want to pass a huge image file as a get method, it is not possible. But with the post method, there is no limit on the number of data which you can basically pass from the client and server. And those are received inside do get and do post. And do post again calls do get in our case, and all the data comes over here. Let us write something over here. Say for example, system.out.println and say inside servlet. Wait for a minute for the Eclipse to process it. Okay, system.out.println, and then let us say something like inside servlet and save this. Now, if we go at the top, we see a web servlet annotation. Now, anything which starts with at the rate is an annotation, and it is saying this is insert B. Copy and paste it inside our action tag. And let us make this as a get request. By default, it is get only, but we'll still mention it specifically saying that it is get. Let us refresh this page. It is refreshed now, and when we create a new servlet, it's better that we restart the server once. So again, and finish, restart server, yes please, and the server is now restarted. And let us call this method yes. Now here we'll say hello.jsp and we'll get this hello image. We can write anything we want, press the submit button, and the servlet is getting called. It is the same system.out.println that we have made it over here. So we are getting the input inside the doGet method. Now let us take the input from the JSP page and show it on the servlet. So to take it, we need to have a name of this particular input. So name equal to, and we'll say image name, for example, and we can have any name that we want. And here we'll say image path. Save this, and we can go back to our servlet. Now, to take the name from the client, we need to use something like this request object, which is there at the top, request dot get parameter, and then the first one was image name, I think so, and it was, yes, image name and image path. So let us take image name, and we can now put it inside a variable, say for example string image name. And similarly we can do the same for image path, string and image path, request.get parameter, and here image path. Let's see now whether the variables are coming properly or not. Let us execute this, and okay, so go over here inside our variable, and we can go back to, say for example, hello.jsp, and the image, and we can just press the submit. So as we can see, let's go below, and if we go over here, we can see that the output uh, is coming as image name and image path. It is exactly what is there in the URL over here. So this is what we have sent from the client to the server. Now this shows that we are able to pass input from the client back to the server. Now let us take the image location, image path, and try to get the file from it. Let us remove this, and file equal to new, and file, and whatever, wherever the image path is there, let's get that file. Okay, so now file, what is file? Let us tell the compiler that it is a IO part, and okay, now let us convert, let us make a input stream out of the file, and then put that input stream inside a binary stream so that we can put it inside the blob. Now before doing all this, let us make a DB connection. So to create a DB connection, let's create another Java class which will act as our interface for the database. So let's go to core and new class, and let us name it as DB manager, and finish. Now Eclipse will create a class called DB manager for us. Let us make a connection con and initialize with the null object. Let us tell the compiler what is connection. So connection is java.sql, and let's see, it will import the required path to use this connection for us. Now let us say get connection as a method name, and it is going to return a connection. Okay, so now we have created a method called get connection, and it is going to return us a connection, return con. So that will remove the error marking from Eclipse. Let's check if con not equal to or con equal to null. So now if the value of connection is null, that is no connection, then let us create the connection. There are some steps while creating a connection. So the steps are as follows. Here we need to do a two-step process. One, initialize the driver, and second, connect to the database. Now, for Oracle, this is the driver name which we will have to initialize. And to connect to the database, this is the URL that we have to use. That Oracle is listening to 1521 port, and it is the Express edition. And username is DPMS and password is Suma. Now let us do that inside our code. So class dot for name, and then just copy paste the driver part. So oracle.jdbc.driver.oracle driver, just put it over here, and then let us make the connection. So con okay, so now let us tell the compiler to use class. It's telling us to surround it in try catch. So what happens over here is, in case if there is an issue while initializing the driver or getting the connection, then it will throw an exception, which we are going to catch it over here. We can actually make a generic exception, as this is not a production code, and just write exception E. So this will catch all the connections and display it if there is an issue. Now let us initialize the connection. So driver manager dot get connection, and there are various arguments which is taking over here. So get connection, and then we can pass the arguments that we want. So we are basically going to give a URL and username and password. So let us copy paste the connection from the from here and put it over there. So JDBC localhost xe1521, and this is becomes our first argument, and the second argument is the username. So in our case it is dbms, and the third argument is the password, which is suma. Okay, so now the connection is initialized, and we are going to get the connection. Let us take this connection inside con object, and that is what it is going to return. So now we can have a connection from the database into our servlet application. Now inside our servlet, let us make a prepared statement. Now prepared statement, uh, after we get the connection, we can use prepared statement to execute the queries like insert or display or anything. So let us create a prepared statement that we have to insert two values. So prepared statement equal to con dot, oh, we need to get the connection first. So let us get the connection. Con equal to db manager dot, okay. So we cannot directly use this connection because it is not static. I mean, we need to create an object and then we can use it. We can actually make it very simple. We can just write static over here like this, and then we can make this as static. So now we can directly use the class name to get the values. So db manager dot get connection, and we'll get the connection inside con. Let the compiler understand what connection is. And now compiler understand what con is. Now con dot create con dot prepare statement, okay, and then we have to give an SQL. The SQL is we need to insert inside a table called bstore. So insert into bstore values, and we have to give the parameters. So let us give the parameters as question mark comma question mark, and the first argument is the name and the second argument is the binary blob object. So let us, it's asking what is prepared statement, and we'll tell him this is prepared statement. And again it will ask us to surround in try catch, which is fine, just surround it in try catch. And now we have a prepared statement with a query inside it. Now the first string is pretty simple, that we can just say ps dot set string, and which is name, which is the first argument inside our query, is which is the image name. This is clear. This should insert the first string inside our database. Now to insert a blob object, there are specific things which has to be done. Actually, let us do that in another session. We'll create another session just for the blob and the display part. Thank you for watching.